Hey there, fellow YouTubers. This is Fragments of Memory, also known as the Armchair Philosopher. Um, Today I'm going to talk about a book I just got through reading. It is by a Nnedi Okorafor. I may be saying this woman's name wrong, and with all utmost apologies to the author. She is awesome. Follow her on the Twitter and the Facebook and get on our website, www.nnedi.com. If you like science fiction and fantasy, check her out. And she wrote this book called Akata Witch. It's awesome. It's a good book. I called it Africa's answer to Harry Potter. If for all the black kids out there that like science fiction and fantasy, even adults, I myself like science fiction and fantasy, and Akata Witch is a really good read. It's entertaining. It's got that wonderful childlike sense, and I figure these kids could give Harry, Ron, and Hermione a run for their money, take them to school and back again. But that's neither here nor there. She's created this whole world, and she's based it on like African folklore of the African continent, like Nigerian culture. She's even kind of got a very nice little flavor of things, flavor of cultures in the book. What's really cool about the book, and aside from the sci-fi and the fantasy and all of that cool stuff, she explores the dynamics of the divide between the polarization between the American blacks and the blacks on the African continent. So like that was interesting. In fact, that term Akata has some sort of negative connotation. And from according to the book, it's what some of the Nigerian blacks in Nigeria refer to as some of the blacks in America as. So it has like a really bad and negative connotation. And the protagonist is a young girl by the name of Sunny. Her parents are Igbo, which is like a tribe in Nigeria, or a tribe in Nigeria, or a sect of people in Nigeria, if you can call a group of people a sect. But anyway, she's Igbo, um, and the interesting thing about Sunny is she's an albino, and she has sensitive reactions to the sun, and she finds out that she's a leopard person, and leopard people have special powers and abilities and things like that, and they can use some magic abilities. So it's kind of neat. It has a nice, I mean, it's a fun book. It's a fun read. Now, I won't really spoil the plot for you too much, but another thing she explored in the book was when she was getting her lessons on being a leopard person. Um, one of her teachers was talking about how you need to learn how to learn, not just look at information, but look at the information and you got to read between the lines. And I thought that was just some really cool things because nowadays, and I felt like in school, teachers really don't teach you how to learn. It's assumed that you just come to school and you learn. And they tell you what you're supposed to look at and what you're supposed to memorize and what you're supposed to pass for the test. But I don't think teachers really teach you how to learn. And that's something that, she sort of points out in the book without being overly preachy. I felt with Sister Soldier's Midnight, I felt she was overly preachy and just beating you over the head with her dogma and her doctrine, but not so with Mrs. Okorafor's work. She's awesome. She's amazing as a writer. I think she's got mad skills. So pick the book up. I say pick it up. Pick it up. It's worth the price of admission. Read. I just say read a good book, and if you want, and I also think one thing that she's really shown me, and this is something my mother instilled in me a very, very, very long time ago. When my sister wanted a Barbie doll, my mom would always get her a black Barbie doll as well. She wouldn't just get the white Barbie doll, she'd get the black Barbie doll too. When I was a kid, if I needed like an action figure, my mom would try to find a black equivalent just so I could have something that was me, that represented my blackness. And again, this is not about being against white people or against any other people, but I think every people needs their cultural expression, their sense of cultural expression. And this, you know, I think this is a really good read for black children and any child. I mean, I'm not just excluding here, but I think every child needs their representation. Like I read a comic book series. It was a mini series so many years ago. It was called Spider-Man India, and it was Peter Parker, but it was Peter Parker as an Indian guy. And Spider-Man, it was still the Spider-Man costume, traditional blue and red, and with the same design, but it was made to look like Indian clothes. So Spider-Man is swinging around in the streets of Dubai or something like that. So it was kind of neat, and it was two Indian artists who had done it. So it was really an interesting concept. Um, and this was just, I mean, it just it just took me away to another world, and I thought it's just a really good read, Akata Witch. Now, yeah, I think she also even kind of gives you looks into corporal punishment because there's even some of the instructors institute corporal punishment on the students, and that's sort of like in America that's anathema. You can't do that. That's abuse, and it just made me sort of look at myself culturally, like how in America how do we see things, and then over in the African continent how are things viewed and seen in certain cultures, like in Nigerian culture or in Ethiopian or Eritrean culture or whatever the case might be. Though she doesn't touch too much on Ethiopia or Eritrea, but I'm just saying, like looking at West African and East African cultures, what's our how do we see things? So again, that whole divide of the black in America versus the black in Nigeria. Kudos, applause, and props to Miss Okorafor. Get the book. I say read it. Peace.